Good morning everybody, this is another filter focus video. In this video we're going to be looking at 1.5 goals, over 1.5 goals, and this was another request after the 8.5 corners. So I'm just going to jump into it. I've not actually created a filter for this in a while, so this is going to be fresh, as if you were just jumping in as well. That's what I want to try and emulate, because you don't have any past filters to look at. We're all going into this for the first time at some point. So the first thing, as always, is these matches played. This is the minimum amount of games that a team will have played, so I'm going to set 11 for this. As the seasons in Europe progress, I'll probably just bump this up on my filters, probably ending at 15 or peaking at 15. We'll save that for both teams. And one thing I will do as well is add a probability rating. So over 2.5 goals, I'm going to add 50%, just as a baseline really. And we can then just maybe even go and check out the filter in a moment. So for the away teams, the obvious thing to add is, where is it? The actual occurrence percentage of 1.5 goals. So let's look at the away stats and we'll say I want away teams that have actually seen 2 or more goals in their games. And this might be too high, but let's say 79%, and we will just save that as 1.5 test. I'm working with one hand, I'm holding the phone with the other hand, so apologies if it's a little bit shaky. Got a feeling that away setting might be too high, but this is why you just test things out. No, there are games. Okay, so let's look at the overs. So we've got this 1.5 goal setting here. You can see that we've got 94, and this is showing all, by the way. So if you see that there are some that are lower, that's because this is just one of the default stat scrollers. You can change your own. You can go to the default and then scroll along and just change whatever you see in here. I'm not going to do that here, but there are videos on that. So we'll go to overs, and if we just toggle to the probability setting as well, you'll see that that is in line with what we set. I think we set 50, didn't we? So it's returned a decent number of games, quite a few from Iceland, as you would expect. And one of the things with over 1.5 goals is it's going to be, I would say it's going to be alert based. You want games that are possibly going to start slow, first 15-20 minutes, no goals, and then you can maybe jump on the goal line. Not even the 1.5 goal line, by the way, maybe like the over 2 goal line. That's been quite fruitful for me. So if you've got like this game, let's have a look, this game in Iceland, for example, the over 2.5 goals probability rating is actually 75%. So you might want to check out the goal line or set an alert for that around 15-20 minutes. And I'll show you how to do that, because I'm actually quite happy with this list, to be honest. It's a decent set of games. I will just go in and check a few of them now for you, just to show you the sort of things that I would look for. We've got this Japanese game starting soon. Before I even go into the fixture, what I would look at on this screen in this moment is that it's 12th against 18th. So straight away, one of the things I've noticed is this goal difference for the away team here, minus 18, and the goal difference for the home team is just 2. So I'm guessing that the majority, the reason that they can have seen 1.5 goals in the majority of their away games, which we will see here, 1.5 goals is 82%, and I'm guessing that it's because they concede a lot. They did at the start of the season, yeah, but in the last few games they've upped it a little bit, and in fact it was a game away at second in the league where they won 1-0, quite surprisingly, that didn't end with 1.5 goals. Was it just that one? No, there was another game away from home as well, in April. So this is the process that I would do, and I'm just trying to, again, just sort of speak as I think about this game in particular, and this is what I would look for. I always go to the results first. I don't know if everybody's the same. I'm quite a visual learner, so just to see this colour-coded form sheet, the half-time scores, if it was BTTS, who they were playing against, the position they were playing against. You can actually gain a lot just from looking at this, I think. So straight away I can see that the last 4 games ended with both teams scoring for Osaka. And I watched a couple of those games actually just before I came back to England, and those 2 in particular were crazy games. I think they were 2-0 down or 2-0 up in one of those games. And it ended 3-3 with, it was Tokyo. Crazy second half. So that's the first thing I would look at. You've obviously got as well the trends that you can look at to see the most recent goals. You can see that there was 6 goals in 2 of the last 3. The table, it's all here, 1.5 goals, and you can see where they rank in comparison. So sort of mid-table really, these 2 teams. I would skip that game personally, but at the end of the day, as you refine your filter, you hopefully will look at this. So one thing I would possibly add to the filter now is the goal difference. We can see that there's a couple of teams here, and it's mostly the away teams that have terrible goal difference. I mean, this game in Iceland, minus 35 goal difference and minus 32. It's just not worth the risk, is it? Personally, I don't feel it is. It's like when you see some first half goal suggestions, but really those teams they're the teams that are conceding the first half goal. So you've got to always look at the bigger picture really. So yes, 1.5 goals has come in 100% of away games for this team and 83% of home games for Alafos, but they're terrible. They're both terrible, and away from home, these guys, I mean, they've won a couple of games. They've fired blanks in 4 of their away games. The home team, hasn't scored in the past 2, and they've conceded 14 goals during that time. So these are the things, and I know this isn't necessarily telling you which games to bet on, but it's sort of about what games you don't bet on as well. I think it's more important to spot the games that you don't pick sometimes, and why you shouldn't pick them. I mean, goal difference is a massive one. And as I say, it's mostly the away teams here. You've got a home team there with minus 42, so 9th against 4th. I suppose if there is one team, you see here the away team is more than capable of scoring at home or away, especially in the last couple of games. Check out the head-to-head. They won 8-0 last time, and that wasn't long ago. So this would be a game that I'd straight away, just in the actual fixture itself, set an alert for. You can see that the odds here are quite in line with the recent results, 1.14 for over 2.5 goals. But you can see that's a good one. I'm just trying to look at these stats, and this is why it's important as well. I'm just trying to look at what I can filter out further on the filter. But to be honest, what I would actually do is take this to the planner, and I'll do this just to give you an example of how you would set alerts en masse, and especially once you've got a filter you trust. So let's find this filter, we'll open it up. And the first thing I'll do, so if I'm loading my first half corner filter or a BTTS filter or overs filter, whatever it is, I'll select all because 14 games, probably a little bit too many. You might want to narrow it down. It's all right. 14's not bad, to be honest. And then I would just go through that process that I've just done as well. So I would look at these stats, and you might want to change them. Let's go to the overs, and we can then see the goal difference. This one looks fine, although it is first against second. So it's whether you want to add that risk. It might be that they don't concede many. You know what? I'm gonna remove this one because we've got 0.4 goals conceded, and they've kept a clean sheet in almost 60% of games. This one I said I would leave, but the recent games of Osaka push it over the edge for me. That they've been mental, and I think the same is sort of true with the away team. I mean, they're going away and beating 4th in the league or something. So they're obviously fighting for relegation. This game, nope. Where was it? I'll just remove the Icelandic game, which was just an obvious one that stood out. But the good thing about the alerts is even if you get the alert, it'll come through with stats, with the key stats. And an alert doesn't mean bet. I always try and emphasize that point as well. If you get an alert, it doesn't mean you have to take it. Depends on the filter it comes from, of course. and how much you trust that filter. So these two have a similar goal difference. It's 9th against 11th. This one looks good actually. They've both scored over a goal per game. They've both conceded over a goal per game. You might even want to check that one out for BTTS, the Peruvian game. So once you've got a good selection of games, you'll then head to the alert section here. And we're going to look at the odds. I'm setting an alert on the odds. This is if you want to set an alert on the result or just the number of goals, this is where you do that. But we're going to go to odds and then goals. First half goals, nope. Over under match goals, 1.5. And what I'm going to do is up here, I'm going to click this button that says keep fixtures, and I'll show you what that does after I set the alert. We're going to put 1.8. Okay. Now keep fixtures, that little toggle, has kept these fixtures selected because what I want to do is set another alert on the goal line, and I'm going to set an alert on the goal line for 2, also at 1.8, and we'll just see if any opportunity comes about from that. I'll post on Twitter today following these games. It'll be interesting to see which ones actually alert us. And I'll share this filter as well, and if you've got any recommendations or improvements to it, I'm sure there will be. One that I'll do right now after this video is just to knock down the teams that have got negative goal difference. I think it's just not worth the risk. And as I said at the start, or just after the start of the video, it's mostly about avoiding games, really, because once you do that enough, you'll be left with a set of games that you can just trust. And some of those will lose as well, by the way, because that's football. But you'll just feel more confident going forward. So that was a bit of a longer video, but that's 1.5 goals. That's how I would go about it. I think with 1.5 goals, you're better off with the alerts, I would say personally, or you're just going to be playing like a 10-fold or something to get decent odds.